Okay. 7 o'clock. There we go. I'm going to call the January 20th, 2026 meeting of the White Bear Lake Conservation District Board to order. We have a quorum. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We're called to order. We're on to item 3, approval of the agenda. And does anybody have any adjustments that they'd like to make to tonight's agenda? Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion. A second to approve tonight's agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes. The next item is approval of the, this would be the November 18th, 2025 meeting minutes, since we don't meet in December. And does anybody have any adjustments that they would like to make to the November meeting minutes? Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. Public comments. So at each of our meetings, we reserve 15 minutes for the public to come and comment on items that are not on the agenda. And would anyone like to take advantage of that 15-minute period? Okay, we'll move on to new business. Okay, so in January, we typically have a first round of nominations for the executive board members, which is the chair, the vice chair, and the treasurer. And the way this works is we'll take nominations tonight. We'll also have an opportunity to make nominations at the February meeting, and then at the February meeting we will vote on those positions. Would anyone like to make nominations for those positions tonight?
I would. I would like to nominate Brian DeSmet as chair, Meredith Wahlberg as vice chair, Mike Pronto as treasury secretary.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to make any additional nominations? Okay, so the nominations will be held open until our February meeting. If you would like to nominate someone, feel free to bring those to the February meeting, where, as I mentioned, we'll take care of this then. Okay, next item under new business is the board activity calendar review. So Sherry has prepared a 2026 annual activity calendar, and it's in your packet. And would anyone like to make any adjustments to that? Okay, so then we should have a motion to approve that, I suppose. So would anyone like to make, well, I'll make a motion to approve the activity calendar for 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the activity calendar. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
Thank you, Sherry.
Yes, thank you, Sherry. The next item is the 2025 annual report draft, and this again was prepared by Sherry, and it summarizes our activities for 2025. And does anyone have any adjustments they would like to make to this document? Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to approve this document?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Annual designations. So we're a public body, and so each year we make annual designations that discuss or that identify our financial institutions, authorized signatures at financial institutions, the North Star Bank debit card authorization, commercial insurance, workers' comp, the official newspaper, our legal counsel, our administrator, our accountant, financial services company, website hosting services, and cable casting services. And you have that in your packet there, who those entities are. And I'll make a motion to approve these 2026 annual designations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. The next item is the non-conflict of interest forms. So each year, the members of this board need to complete this non-conflict of interest form, and Sherry had sent that out in the packet, with the packets. And then there's also one at your seat if you need one. But the idea is that we would, in order to help Sherry out, we would fill these out tonight and get them to Sherry so that that is completed. So please take care of those before you leave tonight. Okay, the next item is the Alicia Heights dock. And so the situation is, and we're going to follow this with a public hearing on this item, but what we've been doing is we've been approving the base application, and then the public hearing will be held, and then we will consider a variance to that document. And Mark, do you want to, and is that the way that this one is laid out as well? Yep. And so, Mark, do you want to just set us up a little bit on this, what the base is and what the...
So Alicia Heights in Matamidi, sit next to the condos, and on the other side is a private property owner. They have a 15-foot easement. To utilize the dock, the boats have to go into the neighbor to the south's ADUA. And so it was decided that we should probably have a variance because it does go against our ordinances. And so they have responded with a variance, and we have an email from the neighbor saying that they are fine having the boats a little bit in their ADUA. And so that's what we're discussing today.
And so do we need a motion and a second to approve the original or the dock layout, and then we vote on the variance?
Okay.
It's technically a referral from LUC to approve that, right? The original permit.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, so that would require a vote of the board.
Yep.
So I would like to move to approve the dock application for Alicia Heights
2026.
for 2026,
As presented.
as presented. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve that dock application. Any discussion?
Yeah, so that dock application is the same as last year?
Yes. Change from last year.
It's the exact same. And then, so that is what we are voting on first, and there's a variance that's asked on top of that this year.
Correct.
To be more in line with our regulations.
Correct.
Conceptually, that's what we were talking about.
Well, it's the document that it's a variance to allow it to, go into the person's AUA. Right? So it's just.
But last year, we approved a permit without the variance.
Right. Because
And no one knew really that was happening?
Yeah, here's where we're slowly figuring out how
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to handle the variance processes, right?
When this happens.
Well, we started with the longer docks last year.
Okay.
Right now we're getting into the stuff where we're trying to be more consistent and then document these things. call out the variance, get it shared with the neighbors, so it's all transparent. And then the people know, or if there's things in feedback, because some of these things have just gone on for a while. And what we're trying to do is document and understand where we're at with at least some of these multi-use docks, so we know, both the people, the neighbors and the people who are managing, everybody's on the same page for it.
And there's been several owners in that property to the south since that dock has been there. And every owner in the past has always said, it's fine. So we've always kind of done it. But now, as Chris said, we're just trying to cross the Ts and dot the Is for our ordinances.
Yeah, well, I think that makes sense.
Okay, so we have, Alan.
And at some point, we'll take up the discussion of the variance, but it's all kind of wrapped together because it's right next in the line. Probably not the best use of a variance, but it's what we have. So ideally, when these situations come up, memorializing these things, if this was happening on land, you'd end up with a driveway agreement, right, between two neighbors. And so I'd like to at least work towards having an agreement that can just be, included with the application, so we don't have to do a variance every year. If this is going to become the new normal we'll just use this as an example.
I'd be fine
Then
with
it would
that,
carry
too.
forward,
Yeah.
Joe, just as an aside. So we just don't have those things kind of at our disposal or in our toolkit yet.
I like that idea. I'd want to know from the board what they think, because if that's something we want to pursue, I'd rather do that with all these permits, especially for the cases that we know about.
Moving
And
forward.
make sure we just get that documented. It gives neighbors and the multi-use dock owners like a chance to connect on it and be done with it.
And it can be revocable, so I mean, it's at the will of whoever's signing off on it, but at least it's something that's consistent until it's revoked. We don't have to do a public hearing every year on a variance, so that seems like overkill for something that's a pretty simple agreement.
Yeah, that's maybe why I asked, because if I buy that property next year, can I argue this as the new owner? Yep. But having our documentation and a proper procedure in this process just is more important
100%.
than just winging it, which I'm sure has happened.
Yeah, if the new neighbor comes in
Yeah.
and we have a complaint form now, which again, we didn't have before.
Yeah.
And they fill out that complaint form, it would come to the board and then we would make the decision
Yeah. Okay.
one way or the other.
Thank you.
Okay, Yep.
Yeah.
So the motion in front of us and the second is to approve just the dock application. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. So it's past 7:10, and that was the time, yes. So I think this one has been pretty well set up. We're going to go into a public hearing about the variance for this dock to extend into the neighboring ADUA. And after the public hearing, we will have some discussion, and then we'll take a vote on the variance. So I'm going to open the public hearing for the Alicia Heights variance request to allow Watercraft to extend over the southern ADUA. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this item? Okay, I'll ask again. I'm going to ask 3 times, sorry. Anyone that would like to comment on this item? And then a 3rd time, anyone in the audience or anyone from the public that would like to comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And, okay, so discussion. And we've already had a little bit. Thanks for the question, Brian. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the variance?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance for Alicia Heights.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Meredith?
I think I'm just clarifying a point. So the boats and the dock are within the ADUA when they're parked and not moving. It's just when they're leaving.
No, when they're parked,
It's actually
the back
outside.
end of the boats are actually inside the neighbor's ADUA.
Okay.
There is enough space, right? And that's why we wanted to make sure, like, here, double check with the neighbors, make sure it's fine. But that, we wanted to at least document that somehow, right?
One thing is the letter from the adjacent landowner. And, yeah, thank you.
was questioning at 20.
Yeah, so they asked for a restriction. It basically, we are fine as long as the boats in the angle position from dock do not exceed 20 feet. And I'm wondering if we should amend the motion to include that?
Sure, I think that's kind of where it's at anyways, right? Because it's 50, really, it's a 4-foot dock, and it's, I mean, even when you angle them, it's still outside, but it's probably under 20, but that 20 puts you over, right?
So I can't remember who made the motion. Was it?
I'm okay to amend the motion to say that they do not go within 20 feet,
Do not exceed 20 feet.
not exceed 20 feet.
And that would be from the dock.
Correct.
Good with it, too.
Okay. So any further discussion on the motion? On the amended motion? Okay, so I'll call the vote. All those in favor of the amended motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Thank you. Okay, so now we have another public hearing here for Ordinance 9, the amended hours of personal watercraft operation. And just as set up, this, we approved the first reading at our November meeting. And after the public hearing for this item, we will consider whether to approve the second reading or not. And then in addition to that, there's a summary publication that was at your seat, and we will take that item up after we act on the second reading. And that item is simply approval of a summary publication instead of publishing the entire amended ordinance. Okay, so I'm going to open the public hearing for Ordinance 9, Amendment Hours of Personal Watercraft Operation. And would anyone from the public like to take advantage of this opportunity to speak on this item? Would anyone in the public from the public like to take advantage of the opportunity to speak on this item? And then would anyone from the public like to take advantage of this opportunity to speak on this item? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. And I will make a motion to approve the second reading of the amended Ordinance 9.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this item. And is there any discussion? Meredith.
I've had just a little bit of feedback from neighbors and friends that they feel like 9:30 is a little bit late. There's no restrictions on any other boat types. I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you for mentioning that. And this would bring us...
Say that again, Meredith. They think what?
Why couldn't they jet ski at 9 a.m.? It's not louder than other boats for the most part. There's no other restrictions on times for other boats. That's what people have brought up to me.
What's the water ski restriction? I'm trying to think offhand for the ski course.
Permit, 7 a.m.
7?
This particular change to our ordinance would bring us in line with the DNR regulations
Gotcha.
and Ramsey County rule, my understanding. So basically, it would allow personal watercraft to operate from 9:30 a.m. until 1 hour before sunset. Okay, any further discussion?
Do we know what the penalty is, Meredith, if you get caught driving around at 8 a.m.?
Alan, do you know what the penalty would be?
For us, it'd be a misdemeanor. I mean, if we wanted to write it up that way, if someone was caught. So DNR would be the enforcing body. They would issue a ticket to whoever's out doing it. So,
Was there feedback that 8 a.m. was too early? Or how did, like, I get we went with the DNR, but have we ever had any feedback, like, on any of this in our lake?
Oh, I think it was water skiers, that's always the issue, but not watercraft.
It is odd. I would sense that the nuisances, the starting and stopping of jet skis are a little different than a boat, in my opinion, but 9:30 does seem late for a DNR to, like, you can't
I
just,
can understand the late, like the time at night, right? You want to,
yeah,
don't get,
but in the morning,
you
like,
don't want to mess with that, but like,
If you just wanna-
9:30 seems like.
seems really late.
Do you think that it provides an opportunity for people who are fishing to get out in the morning and fish without the disruption of personal watercraft operation?
I'm assuming that is a big piece of it. With
You could probably look into the DNR rulemaking and figure out why they actually set that. I'm sure it isn't arbitrary. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure there's a rationale for 9:30 because it is such an odd time when the sun's been up for 4 hours for half the summer by then, so.
And our ordinance is a bit strange in that going until 8 PM could be well after dark sometimes later.
And I'm assuming, too, that part of it would be no one really cares, because if you're just driving your jet ski over to Tally's in the morning, no one's going to care. They don't want you jumping up and down and bothering a fisherman. I also don't see a lot of people getting up before 9:30 a.m. to run around on a jet ski either. So, unless you're pulling a jet, a skier, you, I suppose, could, do something like that. So,
It's enforced very often, put it that way.
yeah. But I guess if this is set, then what happens if someone does get caught needing to do something and they get a ticket and they're like, are you kidding me? What is the difference?
I would assume, like most infractions, the DNR would have to see it to do something about it, that it couldn't just be a neighbor saying, I saw this jet ski out and here's the number on it.
Well, as we've all learned, evidence is right here for most people, so
Yeah.
someone could be out on their dock and just take a picture of someone on their jet ski and call it in.
Timestamp it?
I
Okay.
just feel really.
And if you're not being stupid, you're probably not going to precipitate a call to law enforcement either, so.
It's a new year, I'm working on it again. I do feel like we're trying to limit people for access to the lake, though, with this. And I'm a fisherman. I also have a jet ski, but I've always taught my kid to be respectful about it. But it's like, it just seems like we're going to do this. It's a weird time for me. I think it should just be put to like 8 a.m. like it was.
That's my next question. Was it 8 a.m.? Sorry that I did not look at that.
Yeah, 8 to 8.
So it was 8 to 8.
Like the starting time we leave, and we just leave it 1 hour before sunset on the other, because it's worked. You're solving the nighttime thing.
Yeah, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. is the current ordinance.
Right, but if you go 1 hour before sunset, you solve the thing that Mark was bringing up, like it's dark at 8.
Sure.
But like,
I like the 8 because I like there's something in between. We just get out of the way then.
So I don't live on the lake or have a jet ski, but I do know people who do, and their kids will use them kind of as a car, and they'll go to their friend's house across the lake, or they'll go to the club to have breakfast or things like that.
Alan, if we didn't change our ordinance, it would still be a DNR rule. And so could the DNR, I imagine, could still enforce their rule regardless of what ours is?
And if the sheriff was out, they could still enforce ours or theirs. So, I mean, right now it's a choice. The only reason that we have this is just to add some consistency between the jurisdictions, so.
And I think also one thing we've heard pretty uniformly is that law enforcement giving a ticket in most situations is not their first choice. It seems like it's generally education of the offender. And so I wonder if a whole bunch of tickets would be issued for this kind of activity, but you never know.
If you're using it as a car, I don't think so. So in all the years I've been prosecuting, the only person I've ever prosecuted on a jet ski has been cited by a conservation officer for chasing geese.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, if you're going to be an idiot and the cops see you, they're going to stop you and give you a ticket. That was a real ticket, not just a warning. Mm-hmm. And so most people are going to be out there, and it's going to be, hey, you shouldn't be out here at 6:05 on your jet ski. Oh, I'm just going to my friend's house, here's your warning. So that would be my guess is how it would be interpreted, whether it's 8 or whether it's 9:30.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Mark?
I'll just state that I'm in favor of the consistency with the state ordinance.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, and I'm correct, we have a motion and a second. Yep, thank you. Okay, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes. Thank you. Okay, so we're done with those public hearing items, and we're on to unfinished business.
How about our summary?
Oh, thank you. Okay, so the summary publication, which I mentioned earlier, allows us to basically publish a much shorter item than the entire ordinance. So I'll make a motion to approve the summary publication with the date of 2024 dash, and then with the item, the text that's inside those parentheses, deleted.
We'll just end up calling it, the amended ordinance 9 is what we'll call it for publication purposes.
Right.
I understand we don't number our ordinances in this organization, so
Right.
apologies for having that inserted there, but
Well, it's a pretty simple thing to take out.
yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion. Second. To approve the summary publication language. Any discussion? Mark?
It says in alignment with those of the county. I think
I
this
just started
is a
there. so
state
They're
ordinance?
enforcing on up, so
Okay.
we can just add DNR in Ramsey County, Washington County. Anyway, the summary is, the whole idea is that little statement in there, instead of a block of text like this, it's a couple of lines, so it just becomes a little bit more economical to actually publish it in the White Bear Press.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
Get it done.
Okay, so we're on to reports and action items, the executive committee report. So the executive committee met, and we were joined by Matt Koshin from the Rice Creek Watershed District, who wanted to talk with us about wake boats and potential restrictions on areas where wake boats can operate based on the University of Minnesota studies. And generally, what the Rice Creek Watershed District is advocating for, and the U of M, I believe, is that wake boats shouldn't operate in where water depth is less than 20 feet or within 500 feet of the shoreline. And the Rice Creek Watershed District is able to help us with educating the public on those types of things. And I'll just mention that the board has not taken a position on this item yet. I think our position has been to wait until the U of M comes up with something definitive, which we may be at that point, or very close to that point. And so at some point, the board may want to consider some restrictions on wake boat activity on the lake, but that's for another meeting. But Matt came and talked with us, and we also discussed with him water quality monitoring on the lake. The summary there is that several entities monitor the water quality of White Bear Lake, and my understanding, based on what Matt said, is that information is fed to the MPCA, the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, and they are the keepers of the data. So that's that item. We talked about the Paid Family and Medical Leave Act and Sherry's contribution to that. We have a new QuickBooks support company that we just started working with in October, November. That got off to a little bit of a rough start with email communication, but it's been sorted and things seem to be working well now. We talked about the survey markers that were put out along Commercial Bay to identify the ordinary high water level location, and how some of those, maybe many of those, are difficult to find or may not be in place anymore. And at some point at a future meeting, the board should consider having the survey company go out and reinstall those monuments or markers, let's call them, so that they're so that the location is not findable but visible to the dock owners in Commercial Bay. Let's see. We talked about the Laker publication, but I'll leave that to Meredith to discuss. We talked about the use of the WBLCD.org emails, and I think Sherry's going to mention something about that, if I remember right, in her announcements. Okay, and then we put together, based on this email hack situation that we had last year, we put together a document to try to summarize all the different activities that went on, and Sherry is in the process of finalizing that document. Okay, we had a small amount of discussion about a boat rental ordinance. And Meredith is kind of owning that at the moment and putting that together. And once that gets to a point, we'll bring that to the board. Maybe before that, we would like input from LUC. So when we get it to maybe the next draft, we'll drag someone in from the LUC. The AIS, we talked about the Phragmites and the opportunity for residents to opt out of treatment of Phragmites, and our communication with the impacted homeowners. And what we came up with is that when the Phragmites are identified next year, locations of Phragmites, and we know which homeowners are within the distance of the Phragmites location, that we'll try to target those homeowners to let them know that they do have the opportunity to opt out of treatment. But what that means is that then they're personally responsible to take care of it themselves. The Starry Stonewort signs aren't installed yet, so we'll keep working with the city and the county to get that done. Lakeview study, there's an open house presentation, and Meredith will speak more to that coming up. And then we talked about this personal watercraft ordinance amendment. Okay, so that's what we did. Any questions on any of that, Chris?
One thing, I know I had asked RJ Rudd to give us some of this, but one ask, I think, on top of the survey pins would be, for the ADUA lines, like what degree do they go into the water? Because people are trying to connect points and they're not agreeing on it. So like what we've done with other docks in different bays, we'll say, hey, your dock's going to point 270 west. And they said they do have those degrees of what they, so you could just basically say with the two owners, here's the point, here's your degree into the water. That's your bearing that you have to have your stuff.
Yeah.
That's one thing I think we asked, and I forget who I talked to there, and they were going to get it, but you know how it is. So if we're going back for more, that would be another piece of data we should maybe get.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also the conversion of the coordinates that they provided, so that it's more usable out in the field for us.
Because it's hard to do a GPS coordinates out in the middle of the lake right? It's like, if you get that compass on that point where the survey pin is, that's been the most useful.
So what we may want to do is maybe put this on the February agenda, and between now and then come up with a limited scope of work that would include them providing A, B, and C, that we could capture these items that we want from them.
Do you want me to take a stab at that?
That'd be
Sure.
great.
All right.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, any other questions about the exec committee meeting? Okay, move on. The Lake Quality Committee, Mike?
So Mike is not here today, and I'm going to report to the lake level. It is 922.95 feet, which is 1 inch higher than last month.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Sherry. And we're on now to the Lake Utilization Committee. Mark?
Thank you. The first one is the Birchwood Dock Association, non-commercial dock permit, same as last year. Sherry did receive an email yesterday at 9:30 a.m. From a resident that doesn't think that since there's not enough water level at Delwood, at the Delwood dock in Birchwood, that they should be issued a permit for that many boats. And the way it works with Birchwood is the individual the association gives their application to the city. The city then approves and then sends them to us in one packet. And what the utilization committee came up with was that this person needs to probably take it up with the city of Birch, or the town or village, before we make any decisions on it, that it should be a city decision. Their docks.
Because one more thing, that the counts are defined by the city of Birchwood for each dock. They're just applying for what they can have or what they, more, so they have the flexibility based on if the water goes up or down. So that's historically how they've done it. The advice we gave Houston, who's the new president, was like, also go talk to your councilman and figure out what is the best approach on it. Do we have to clean it up a little bit? And is it give and take? Like, go chat and see what those numbers should be. Because a lot of it, they're not going to probably use. So it's like, I'd rather have them, we approve it, they can have their discussions, and they can come back and we can figure out, hopefully they can figure out what it is. But we have not had problems there for 15 years.
And is that uniform across all of their docks, where they approve X, but they may only end up with Y? Or is it just the Delwood Beach one?
It's all based on the water depth, what
Yeah.
they can put in there. They can't, if it's down and they have this many slips, that's all, they just fit what they can.
Okay, so it's not an item specific to Delwood?
It's to a lot of docks of these associations, and what we've always said in the past, that it's self-limiting, that you might get 10 boats approved, but the water depth might be so that that year you're only going to get 6 out there, and that's up to you to decide who doesn't get out there or not. But
Dock links are defined by the city also. They're like, they can't, if you want to add, they would have to get that approved by the city before they can add more dock. So they just can't go out to fit the boats in. It's like, your dock's the dock, and if these numbers of slips fit, that's what you get. So they always apply for more just in case.
And again, there's different type of boats where you might not be able to get a ski boat. You might be able to get a small Lund fishing boat in, or a jet ski in. So they have their ways that they work with it. So I would, having said that, the LUC approved, and I so move.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Birch Lake, or the Birchwood Dock Association application. Any discussion?
Yeah, so what do we think the issue is here? Why would someone have issue with this?
I would think because they're asking for 7, And I don't think they've ever put 7 there in years. So I think they've always maybe 5 at the most, probably in the most recent 4 to 5 years that I've seen there. I think people are just saying tighten it up maybe. Maybe that's the issue, right? Maybe people don't even like the 5 that are there, and that's why they're saying stuff, right? That's probably what it is. I don't know.
Okay. But yeah, according to what you're saying then, Mark, this goes through the city. So this whole conversation is really, has to start there.
That's what we felt, because the numbers were defined by the city way back when.
Yeah.
Because it used to be you could do it was like, do whatever, people were on it for their whole entire life, and then the city came up with the ordinance to apply to say, hey, you only get it for 6 years, you got to rotate. Here's the max boats you can have on each dock, and they put that. in the
And the
ordinance.
dock length. This
And-
is as long as that dock can be. This is the amount of boats, or the maximum amount of boats that can be on it.
Gotcha.
Meredith?
Do you mind adding the slip numbers in so that they're in the minutes for next year? The-
I forgot to do that this round. We usually do that when we approve it. You're right.
Do,
Page, like, right in the beginning that
I
tells you.
think there's a page on the permit.
That's Ash 6, Birch 8, Elm 4, Delwood 7.
so would the motion in the second be okay amending the motion to include those boat numbers?
Slip count.
Slip count, sorry. Okay, Mark, are you okay with that as the maker of the motion?
I am.
Okay. And you have those numbers, hey, Sherry? Yes. Okay. Okay, so we have motion and a second, and we've had some discussion. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. All right, Mark, it's back to you.
Next on the agenda is the Russ Becker water structure permit, same as last year. 2 swim floats, 190 feet out. They do have, they're still a little tough to see because they're low profile, but they do have reflective material on, which we asked them to do, and they did. The only thing is that came up at the LUC was that to have a buoy in either Ramsey or Washington County, they both have different, they're not the same regulations, but they do have regulations that they would like to license them. So we would like to approve this application with the caveat that they have to have the Washington County buoy permit before they put them in the water.
And sorry, Mark, is it a buoy permit or is it a structure in the lake?
Temporary structure. permit.
Structure.
Yeah.
Structure permit.
Okay. Okay, so the motion is,
Yeah, it's for the extra dock and the 2 swim rafts.
and it's contingent on them getting the permit from the county.
Correct.
Washington County.
Washington County. And so what we'd like to have done is once they put the permit in, to copy us on that they've put the permit in. And then if it starts coming to ice out, and in the past, we haven't had a lot of action from Washington County Water Patrol. And so we could then maybe touch them and ask them if they could make a movement on whether they want to approve the structures or not.
And the structure permit for Washington County would be for the swim rafts.
Yes, not the dock.
Okay, so we have a motion, but I don't think we have a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Okay, any discussion, further discussion, actually? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
Next is your boat club. It's in Commercial Bay. And let's see, commercial sales and service application, no change from last year. The LUC approved, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And I'll start. Did these folks need a permit from the city of White Bear Lake to do business in White Bear Lake?
I believe
That's
they
my
do. I don't
understanding.
know what it is. It's like our permit just says obtain the proper licensing for your business, right?
Yeah, so I guess we could, if we could, let's assume that we approve this, the motion and the permit then, a permit application, then I guess it's just up to Sherry to monitor that they provide proof of having a business.
Required, you can make it contingent on, and obtain any other business licensing as required.
Yeah, and we kind of do, I mean, I think it is,
I think it is too.
list and attach copies of all other permits, licenses, and approvals required.
Yep.
So we would just need to get a copy of their approval by the city of White Bear Lake. Is it a business license that they're issued? Or?
Imagine it's a local peddler's business license, yeah. Have they turned one in before, sure?
We don't ask for them. We just say that they
Yeah.
have them.
Right,
Right.
just
Yeah,
We're
it's
not-
kind of up to the city to enforce their ordinances, not us.
We never ask for any of these,
Not a parking too.
like these business entities to give it to us. We just say, assuming you're getting these.
Right.
Even for all the commercial guys, like Tallies doesn't give us anything.
Yeah, yeah.
They work with everybody and they have that. So like you saw with the VFW when they got hit with the parking stuff, that held it up and we just like, okay, until
Yeah.
that stuff's there, we're not going to approve. Well, it's
Yeah.
not going anywhere.
So, Sherry, do you just want, oh,
What's that?
It wasn't us that held that up.
No, it was based on because they didn't have the right permits, but we don't ask for that paperwork.
yeah, good. So, Sherry, do you just want to chat with somebody at the city to,
If that's what the board wants, I can do that.
yeah, would you do that?
Yep.
And if they say, yeah, everything's good, then okay, everything's good. But I don't know, well, anyway.
Better to ask.
They'd have no jurisdiction. 'cause
Say that
it's on-
again?
You can make the argument that they have no jurisdiction as a city, since it is technically all done on the lake.
Huh.
So, I mean, I wouldn't hold them up because of that.
No. Because like we say in our permits that all required permits and licenses have to be obtained by DNR, National Register, or municipalities. Like they have to
I'm
do,
just
we
saying
say
they
that
might not have any ability to license something that's doing business
It's
only
on the lake. They're not on land.
So, yeah.
No, I don't understand that. I mean, we're saying they have to go get those things, or our approval doesn't stand for that commercial stuff.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Okay.
It's okay.
I think you are.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the application. Any further discussion? Diane?
I think they do a really good job of educating, and hopefully people that are renting will read all of these pages. But I liked what they did to educate.
Yep. Okay, any additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
The next one is Scott Bonin, non-commercial dock permit application, same as last year. The LUC approved, and I so move.
Second.
How many slips was that? Was that
Five.
5? Or no, 6? 6. 6 slips.
Yep, 6. Okay, so a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
Next, Brenda Farrell, non-commercial permit application, same as last year, and no complaints. 5 boats. LUC approved, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
The last is McCartney Estates, that's in Matamidi. And the application came in as non-commercial permit, same as last year. The LUC approved, and I so move.
It's 6 votes.
It's 6.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the 6 boats for McCartney Estates. One thing, and it could just be an error on their part, is, they checked renewal revised from last year.
So if you remember, they had an incorrect diagram, and he had marked both revised and not revised, and so I asked him about that, and that's why we had to put things away, because he made an incorrect diagram. It was supposed to be the same as last year.
Okay.
And so they gave us the correct one. The dimensions were off with the initial permit. So it should be crossed out that it's not a renewal different from last year. It should be identical to last year.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. All right, anything else for you, Mark?
No, sir.
Any questions for Mark or the LUC? Okay, moving on to the Lake Education Committee. Meredith?
Okay, so in your packets, you'll have the 2026 press publications contract for the Laker. They would like us to lock in rates for the next 2 years. This past year, we paid $1,850. They're asking us to lock in for this year, 2026, at $1,905, and 2027 at $1,975. I think there's advantages to locking in for 2 years, so I'm going to make the motion that we do lock in rates for 2 years for the Laker.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve an agreement with press publications for 2026 and 2027. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
Okay, the Lakeview study presentation will be next Tuesday, January 27th at 6 p.m. at the Ramsey County Library in White Bear Lake. Ian is going to tape the event for us, and then it's going to be available for anyone to watch on YouTube and on our website afterwards. Board members, I'd love if you can make it, but understand if you can't. If you can make it, if you'd be willing to arrive a couple minutes early to greet people, that would be wonderful. And then I'm going to text you all an invite, so you could text your neighbors and friends if you think of anyone that might be interested sometime this week. Or if you don't want me to text you, let me know after the meeting and I won't send it to you. Additionally, we are planning the winter ice cleanup on March 7th. Right now we have 8 groups participating, so good turnout so far. Mark your calendars if you're interested in participating with the Conservation District group and going out on the ice and cleaning up. And then for our social media, next week is Salt Week in Minnesota, so I'm going to be promoting that along with a lot of organizations we partner with. We've had some complaints about Christmas trees being placed on the ice. I'm going to remind people that we would like those removed by the time ice houses have to be off the lake. I'm going to post something on general ice safety, ice ridges, cold plunging holes, etc. On that one, I'd like you guys to let me know if you see anything out there. Last year at this time, some big ice ridges developed on the lake, and we did have some problems, some cars going through. So if you're out there and see anything suspicious, let Sherry or I know, and probably Ramsey County Water Patrol too. And then I'll be publicizing the winter cleanup as well on our socials. Any questions about either of the events, the Laker? You should have gotten your December Laker too. I hope you all enjoyed it. Yeah. Any questions for me?
Okay. Thank you, Meredith, and also thank you, Sherry, for doing the heavy lifting on getting this open house presentation thing put together for next Tuesday. Okay, we're on to item 10 on our agenda, the treasurer report. Mike's not here, so I am going to attempt to handle this. We have 2 items. The first one is the approval of the November 30th, 2025 actual treasurer's report. You'll recall that at our November meeting, it was a projected report because we hadn't hit the end of the month yet. And so we approved a projected treasurer's report for November, and now I'll make a motion to approve the final November treasurer's report, which is in your packet. We have a motion and a second to approve the November treasurer's report. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Next item is approval of the December 31st actual end-of-year treasurer's report. And that one is in your, was that in the packet that just was here at our?
It's just the additional documents I gave you, and I emailed it as well.
Yeah, so Sherry emailed, earlier today, emailed it, and then also it's at your seat, it's this one that's with the color blue. I'll make a motion to approve NS debit 2025-21, and then checks 2577 through 2577, 2578, 2579, 2500. and
Yes, I talked to Mike
2501.
about this because there was a packet that started it, but it comes with the last number of the packet, and you're supposed to rip that off, so I thought that was the last packet. Anyways, found the first packet, so yes, it's just going back to the first packet, and
Okay, so the check numbers are correct?
they're correct.
Thank you. So 2577, 2578, 2579, 2500, and 2501.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve those expenditures. Any discussion?
One question. For 2,500, what did we budget for the sheriff? It was 12, we had this in our 2 months ago. It was 12,000, and this is what we ended up, or what is it?
Yes, so it was 12,000 something, that was the estimate. Remember, they told us they didn't have the man hours, so they reduced it, and he presented us with a document that had the report of activity that they had last year with a number which was, I think, 8,700 some. However, that was just in his paper. The actual financial invoice came,
This is the final.
and that's the number, yes.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Okay. Do you want to set this up?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
So we pay quarterly Minnesota unemployment insurance for myself, and because the invoice, I did not get the invoice until today because the city has to process our payroll before I can get the invoice. It needs to be paid by January 26th, which would be too late for the February meeting to approve, so we need approval on this, so I can pay that.
I motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the payment of the unemployment insurance and amount due of $27. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Okay, on to item 11 on our agenda, Board Council Report. Alan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you noted, the final invoice came in from the sheriff. I've been talking to Mike too, and so by next month, we should have a new contract to review. So Mike's been adjusting. Of course, he's a sergeant, but now he's been made a commander. So he's keeping all his duties and expanding into a few more. So he's a little, pardon the pun, retarded in his delivery of the contract for this year. And I think he does want to evaluate what he has available. So it's a little more realistic because I understand it was kind of a little awkward, not knowing when he was going to have people to service us, and obviously it's reflected in what the bill was too. So beyond that, it's been a pretty tame year. He lamented not being able to retrieve a car out of the lake like we've been able to do in years past. Adds a little more media attention to the lake and to the ice, but it's been slow. And Matt, our conservation officer, said the same thing. So between conditions and the holidays, it's just been a nice, slow, steady winter on the lake as far as law enforcement goes. So we'll have a contract for you next month, and that's that, unless something comes up.
Okay. Any questions for Alan?
All right, thanks, guys.
Announcements. Sherry?
Okay, so I have most of your non-conflict of interest forms, so just to say again, if you haven't filled it out, you do have a copy, and just please give it to me before you leave. Another thing is, as you know, we have a dedicated email, the wblc.org, that we are going to be using for our intercommunications with the board and you use with your constituents. However, we have to make sure that everybody can access their email and that you are going in to look at it. And so first of all, I would ask everybody to check your email to see that you can get in. You can only choose, if you haven't been in there, you should have, but if you can either choose to have it go to your personal devices right away instead of having to check that all the time, or you have to go in and check. For some reason you can't do both. It's set up by WireBuilt. I don't know the situation, but if you're having issues, please let me know at some point. As soon as I get from everybody that you are able to access that, I am going to be sending our communications through your WBLCD.org emails. So if you know right now that you're experiencing issues, you can let me know before you leave so that I can contact WireBuilt to get you set up again. That was the gist of it, right? Continuing, I'm going to email you a link from the League of Minnesota City on how to keep yourself safe online. I attended the cybersecurity webinar last November. It was really excellent. It has some good information and examples of common scams and frauds that are being conducted in Minnesota, so I'll be sending that out shortly. And then our next meeting of the board will be held on February 17th, 2026.
Okay, thanks, Sherry. Any questions for Sherry? Okay, thank you. So we're down to item 13, adjournment. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.